Hello and welcome to TelecomTV. I'm Martin Warwick. We're here in very, very trendy Shoreditch in the City of London at the IoT in Insurance event. And I'm talking with Clare Selway, who is Head of Innovation at AXA PPP. Clare, welcome.
Thank you very much.
The insurance industry, as we know, being here in the City of London is very, very old, established, several hundred years old, 300-400 years old. And it's got to be that age by being conservative and being risk averse, as you are well aware, as I am well aware.
I am indeed.
Right, but things are changing, because if this risk averseness and unwillingness to change, this conservatism maintains the way it always has been, some of these companies are going to go to the wall. Now, you're Head of Innovation at AXA, major insurance company. What do you do as Head of Innovation? How important do you think innovation is going to be in saving the bacon of some of these companies?
Personally, I think it's going to be hugely important. I would say that, obviously. However, when we look at the health insurance market, the market itself is reducing. So actually the number of people who are taking out health insurance policies is going down. The cost of medical inflation is increasing, and we actually need to look at a new way of doing things. We can't, as you say, continue doing things the way that we always have done in a very risk-adverse manner, because that won't actually work for us longer term. What we need to do is we need to actually start moving into people's health journey earlier on, before they become unwell and claim, and try and help them stay well. If we can help them stay well, we can reduce down our claims, we can provide positive benefit to those people as well by actually helping them in their daily lives, rather than just at the point of pain much further down the line.
Okay, thank you. I understand that, I understand why it's important. What do you at AXA bring to the party that others cannot? This is a global industry. We know the way the health industry works in various parts of the world. Obviously very different here to the way it is in the United States. And different again elsewhere. What does AXA bring to it that nobody else can?
So what I'm doing specifically is actually working with startups. So my role is all about trying to find what the next thing is going to be to try and improve our insurance market and improve the health of our members. Now, what we're then doing is when we find a startup that we think actually will have benefit for our members, is work with them and co-develop solutions. So very much moving away from that traditional, we'll develop it in-house, to looking externally to experts in the industry and working with them to deliver something new, which requires quite a different approach, because actually traditionally we're very, as you say, very risk adverse, and we take a very long and structured path. Startups work very differently, and we need to become more agile to be able to work with them and really deliver something new, and that's my role.
Now, from my point of view as a technologist, this is what my background is, I'm used to the notion of partnership and working with. Insurance has never been like that. It's been pretty mutually exclusive, hasn't it? We are us, and this is the way we do things. So when you talk about working with innovators, A, how do you find them? And B, what do they do that you can't do?
So we find them through a variety of means, whether that be networks. So I'm a mentor for a number of different startups. I speak at conferences, I attend conferences, and then I use venture capitalists as well to try and identify them. Within AXA, we too have a venture capitalist arm that we use to help identify startups. There's a myriad of ways that we can actually find the startup. And then what we actually try and do is, when we say co-develop, actually work alongside them. Really try and tell them, this is what we would expect if we were doing something, and help them develop their product with them, to know that there's an outcome and a sales pipeline for them through our business. So we provide them with the distribution that they don't have, and they provide us with that, whatever it is, the knowledge or the expertise that they have that we don't have. So together we bring the knowledge, the sort of inventors' view of the world, and how we can move, particularly with data and wearables and technology that we haven't got internally, and we bring that market to them.
So this is a sort of symbiotic relationship you have with them. You both get something out of it. Neither kills the other.
No.
Hopefully.
And both benefit from the relationship as well.
Indeed so. So when you're looking at innovation, which is what your job is, how many? It's a very strange question this is going to say. How many cross your desk in the course of a working month or something like that? Because what we find in the technology industry, things just happen overnight.
Yep.
Certainly within a week.
Absolutely. You can get hundreds across your desk, and it's a really tricky decision to actually understand where something is just fluff for want of a better word, or something has actually got real substance behind it. A lot of the work that I do is based on networks, so where I have somebody, a venture capitalist for example, who says, I've seen this business, it's really good, it's not quite ready for us, but you might be interested. Personal recommendations is something that I work on quite strongly at this point in time. I think we can become more structured in how we approach and find those startups as we go forward, but that's kind of how it's working at the moment.
Thank you. Now, we've covered the benefits and what you and what the customers in the end will get out of it. What about the pitfalls? It's getting noisier in here,
It is,
as
yes.
you can hear, because lunch is just starting all the way around us. You can't see it, but we can. So we're going to have to start shouting in it. But Claire, what about the pitfalls? Do you appreciate what they are?
Absolutely.
Do they change constantly?
Absolutely. So every pilot that we work on and every startup that we work with has a different range of solutions and problems that we need to solve. So for me, one of the biggest challenges that I see going forward with all of these things, and this Internet of Insurance, is the vast number of solutions for the same type of problem. So when you look to think about a healthcare solution and a doctor, if you as an individual are using app number 1 to monitor your health of your heart and you're getting information, you see a problem, but then the next 100 people could be using an entirely different app, and all of you take that to your doctor to help diagnose you. How does that doctor cope with that myriad of information presented in a variety of different ways? There has to be at some point some form of consolidation in how this information is presented, but where that happens and when, who knows?
Okay, thank you. Well, from what you've just been saying, it's evident that standards are going to play a part here and regulation is. We know that how regulated the health industry is. We know how comparatively regulated the insurance industry is. How is that working? Is the insurance, as an industry, able to react sufficiently well to changes in regulation and standards in a timely manner?
It's a challenging question because it depends what the changes are. But what I would say is that a lot of the startups that we're dealing with now are actually, they aren't doing diagnosis, they're doing health apps, which means that the level of regulation that they need to go through is much less. So one of the startups that I work with currently can absolutely diagnose sleep apnea. It won't diagnose sleep apnea because in order to do so, the amount of regulation it needs to go through to be able to sell it as a product is so much more cumbersome and therefore timely and expensive that it won't do it. But what it will do is it will say, your sleep seems to be disturbed last night, we would recommend you go and see your GP.
Right.
So we're seeing much more smart solutions that are kind of doing the analytics behind it, but not actually then providing the diagnosis to try and sort of meander the ways of regulation.
Okay, thank you. We'll bring this to an end in a minute. Very interesting stuff. We'll bring it around because the noise is building, Claire. And of course, the questions I haven't asked you are about security and privacy of data.
Yes.
There's a huge amount of data moving across these networks. There will be more. The Internet of Things is predicated on the collection and the movement of data. Again, when you come across these innovations and what you do in your daily job, you have to be cognizant of not only the legislation, but the ability to actually comply with current legislation, anything that may happen in due course in terms of security and privacy and data security. So how does that apply?
So what we do with our pilots is we make sure that they go through the appropriate level of governance. So if it's dealing with the transfer of data privacy, it will make sure that it covers all the regulations that we're required. So Data Privacy Act, or ownership of data, who owns that data, ability to get that data, anonymization of data, all of those things. So we will always make sure that AXA covers all the regulations that's required in order to be able to test that pilot.
Okay, and the very last question of all, I want you to look forward to, in this game, it's quite difficult to look more than a few weeks ahead.
Yep.
But look forward a year, 18 months, 2 years. How do you think things are developed as far as IoT is concerned within the insurance industry?
I think the advancements are so huge, and it depends how quickly it moves. So there's some things that I've seen recently that I think are fascinating. So there's patches that newborn babies are wearing, which are completely organic, so they can be worn within the incubator, monitors the heart rate, monitors the blood glucose, and just dissolves within the skin and then is passed out through urine. That is phenomenal. And then there's some other things that are using in UV lines, so actually glucose monitoring, so it's taking that Internet of Things, taking that understanding and automatically administering glucose or dextrose as depending what your blood levels are, and that helps reduce down hypos and that kind of thing. I think those things are some of really pushing the boundaries of where we're going. I think we'll also see wearables continue and develop on, and we'll start to hopefully try to take that data and actually using that data to reward our members for being healthier.
Well, very interesting stuff. Clare Selway, thank you.
Thank you.